الحمد لله رب العالمين، والصلاة والسلام على أشرف الأنبياء والمرسلين نبينا محمد وعلى آله وصحبه ومن دعا بدعوته واستنى بسنته وسار على نهجه إلى يوم الدين. أما بعد, my brothers and sisters indeed, I enjoin upon you and upon myself the fear of Allah Tabaraka wa Ta'ala. In today's sermon, we will be looking at some of the teachings of one of the verses of the Holy Quran, precisely verse 77 of Surah Al-Qasas, that is Surah 28. In that noble verse, Allah Tabaraka wa Ta'ala is saying that وَابْتَغِ فِيمَا آتَاكَ اللَّهُ الدَّارَ الْآخِرَةَ وَلَا تَنْسَ نَصِيبَكَ مِنَ الدُّنْيَا وَأَحْسِنْ كَمَا أَحْسَنَ اللَّهُ إِلَيْكَ وَلَا تَبْغِ الْفَسَادَ فِي الْأَرْضِ إِنَّ اللَّهَ لَا يُحِبُّ الْمُفْسِدِينَ. In this noble verse of the Quran, Allah Tabaraka wa Ta'ala is commanding us, is enjoining upon us one very vital act, that as creatures of Allah Tabaraka wa Ta'ala, or as servants of Allah Tabaraka wa Ta'ala, if we abide by it, that is, if we take it as part and parcel of our lifestyle, we will enjoy our lives. And He also warned us against a particular act, that if we allow ourselves to live by that, then we will destroy our souls. So looking at this verse, Allah Tabaraka wa Ta'ala said, وَابْتَغِ فِي مَا أَتَاكَ اللَّهُ الدَّارَ الْآخِرَةَ. Seek with whatever Allah Tabaraka wa Ta'ala have given to you the home of the hereafter. Then He went further to say, وَلَا تَنْسَ نَصِيبَكَ مِنَ الدُّنْيَا. And do not forget your share of the world. But the area we want to focus on is where Allah Tabaraka wa Ta'ala is saying that وَأَحْسِنْ كَمَا أَحْسَنَ اللَّهُ إِلَيْكَ. Allah is commanding us with goodness in this portion of this verse. He said وَأَحْسِنْ أي أحسن إلى عباد الله أو أحسن إلى المخلوقين. That is, one should be good to the creatures of Allah Tabaraka wa Ta'ala in general, and to servants of Allah Tabaraka wa Ta'ala, in general. That is al-ihsan. Ahsin kama ahsan Allahu ilayk. Be good the way Allah Tabaraka wa Ta'ala is being good to you. Ahsin ila al-makhluqin كما أحسن الخالق إليك. You should be good to Allah's creatures the way the Creator Himself, that is Allah Tabaraka wa Ta'ala, has been good to you. Allah have done a lot for each and every one of us. He went as far as reminding us of that in a verse of the Quran, that وَإِن تَعُدُّوا نِعْمَةَ اللَّهِ. He said, if you are to count the bounties, if you are to count the good things, or if you are to count the blessings of Allah Tabaraka wa Ta'ala upon you, he said, وَإِن تَعُدُّوا نِعْمَةَ اللَّهِ لَا تُحْصُوهَا. You will not be able to count them, you will not be able to cover them. It's difficult for any of us to be able to count the good things Allah Ta'ala have done for you. So if Allah Ta'ala have done a lot of good to you, then He is commanding you as His righteous servant to be good to other creatures, to be good to those around you. If we want to have a good life, if we want to have a peaceful world, if you want to have a safe life, then one of the things you need to make sure is part and parcel of your qualities, part of your characteristics is goodness to those around you. Because if you promise yourself to be good to those around you, and your neighbor also want to be good to those around him, everyone thinking of how he can be good to those around him, then everybody will have a good life. You will have no reason to worry. I will have no reason to worry. Why? Because I know I have been surrounded by those who are not thinking of harming me. I have been surrounded by those who are more concerned about my goodness more than my, suffering. So Allah Ta'ala said in another verse, in a part of another verse, that Inna Allah yuhibbul muhsinin. Allah likes those who are good. We keep reminding ourselves from time to time. When we talk about goodness, it has connection with whatever you do. You need to be good to others as a civil servant. You need to be good to others as a parent. You need to be good to others as a husband, as a child, as a businessman, in the market, on the road, let's assume, okay, maybe as an officer. As anything, you are expected to exhibit goodness. That's the commandment of Allah Ta'ala. He said, وَأَحْسِنْ كَمَا أَحْسَنَ اللَّهُ إِلَيْكَ. Be good to others the way Allah Ta'ala is being good to you. Oh, as a Muslim, like I do remind us, because when we talk about goodness, yes, we are being commanded to be good to everybody, all creatures of Allah. And we usually give ourselves even an animal example. We do mention the example of a lady that because of her goodness to a dog, she was given what? Jannah. Because whatever noise we will make, those noise will never give us anything unless we take the steps towards achieving that. No matter the level of dua you will make, those dua will not give you any results so long as you did not match your dua with action. You need to walk and what? Pray. You might, you combine your dua. If you want peace, you pray for peace and walk towards achieving peace. You can't pray for peace alone and get peace. You have to walk towards getting peace. And that's why, as we do remind ourselves from time to time, the most important thing in your life that can give you the kind of life you want is ultimately your character. So you need to maintain some kind of qualities, some kind of characters. And that is the essence of the Quran. The Quran came to us to guide us. The Quran came to us to guide us towards what is good for us and save us from what will harm us. That's why in a verse of the Quran, Allah Tabaraka wa Ta'ala is telling us that Ya ayyuhalladhina amanu, O you who believe, istajibu lillahi, answer the call of Allah Tabaraka wa Ta'ala, walil rasuli, and the call of the messenger, idha da'akum, if both of them invite you, lima yuhyikum, to what will give you life. So you cannot have a better Nigeria, you cannot have a better North or better South or better Hausa or better Yoruba or better Igbo or better any tribe, unless you have people who are ready to be good, who are ready to live a good life, who are ready or who are willing to treat others goodly, kindly, in a good way. And I usually tell us this also from time to time. Whatever you want to have, the best way to have it is work towards giving everybody as much as you can. Yes, we know you are not Allah. You can satisfy everyone, but try your best and leave the rest to Allah Tabaraka wa Ta'ala. So Allah Tabaraka wa Ta'ala is commanding us to what? To be good to others the way He's been good to us. My brothers and sisters, indeed, let each and every one of us ask ourselves, in our various areas, how do we relate with people? In your office, in the market, in your politics, in your family relationship, in your friendship, how are you treating others? We can see how the world is going today. Crisis everywhere. Crisis everywhere. Why? Yes, because we say things that we don't do. Yes, for example, we may be preaching goodness. We may be preaching kindness, but practically we do the opposite. And what actually matters is the action, not the noise. That's why Allah Tabaraka wa Ta'ala says in the verse of the Quran that Ya ayyuhalladhina amanu, O you who believe, lima taquluna ma la taf'alun, why do you say what you don't do? Kabura maqatan 'inda Allah. It is grievous in the sight of Allah and taqulu ma la taf'alun, for you to say what you don't do. And so we cannot be preaching goodness and we don't exhibit goodness. So my brothers and sisters, indeed, this is a commandment from Allah Tabaraka wa Ta'ala. Ahsin, be good, kama ahsana Allahu ilayk. So we all need to collectively work towards being better in terms of our relationship with those around us. Even if it is an animal that comes close to you, one of the things you will ask yourself, how did you treat that animal? Remember, Allah will ask you about that. So Allah Tabaraka wa Ta'ala said, Ahsin, be good, kama ahsan Allahu ilayk, the way Allah is being good to you. Then He now warned against one thing. He said, وَلَا تَبْغِ الْفَسَادَ فِي الْأَرْضِ, do not seek mischief on the earth. That is, do not walk towards what? Evil on the earth, towards bad things on the earth. Because evil brings what? Problem. And when we say goodness, it means anything acceptable to Allah. And when we say evil is anything unacceptable to Allah Ta'ala, it's in a nutshell. And whether as an individual, whether as an organization, one of the biggest mistakes you will make, which weakens you, is neglecting goodness and focusing on mischief. And we can see how most organizations in this world are going today. Like I used to tell us, most organizations today become useless, they become powerless. Why? Because they mostly support evil more than supporting good. Most support bad behavior more than what? Good behavior. It makes them to lose the kind of respect or the kind of, command they're supposed to have. Take for example, like the United Nations. The United Nations is supposed to be an organization the moment it gives an instruction. Any country, they give that instruction should what? Shiver. But even if United Nations talk now, nobody cares. Why? Because it is no more a just organization. That is, it is not an organization that actually fights more for justice, but rather it becomes an organization that satisfies in most cases. Who are what? Those who have more power. Might is what? Right. So it makes them, even if there is crisis anywhere, even if they step in, they can't stop it. But on normal ground, it is supposed to be an organization that what? That commands respect, that commands, authority. That's how it's supposed to be. But the moment you lose focus, the moment justice is missing, the moment goodness is missing, then you are gone. Even if it is an individual, yes, people who may respect you. But the moment you begin to tilt towards becoming an evil person more than a good person, you begin to lose that respect gradually. So, my brothers and sisters, indeed, we all need to work towards goodness. Like I said, even you as a Muslim, calling yourself a Muslim does not give you power. What gives you power is what? Being submissive to Allah. What gives you power is doing what is right, because people will love you for doing what is what? What is right. Because if you say you are a Muslim and you don't follow Islam, you also lose your power. So it's not about anybody. It's not about an organization. I only give example. It's even as a Muslim, when you refuse to be good in your life, then as a person you lose the respect you're supposed to have. Like the Muslim Ummah today. Yes, we don't have the kind of power we're supposed to have, because most of us are not following the commandments of Allah Ta'ala. So yes, because you say you are Muslim doesn't mean you will have power. Yes, Allah will only support you because you are what? Doing the right thing. So if as a Muslim when you oppress somebody, Allah will be with the person you oppress. Just the way that if you as a Muslim, somebody who is not a Muslim oppressor, Allah will be with you. He will not be with the oppressor. The brothers and sisters, indeed, we need to collectively work and encourage goodness in our various communities. We need to encourage and work towards guiding people towards being good to those around them. And that is the only way, or that is the only thing that can save our world. So that you as a Muslim, yes, you come to relate with non-Muslim, relate with them goodly. Because you always know that Allah Ta'ala is going to judge you one day based on what you do. And anything that brings evil, you abstain from it. أقول ما تسمعون وأستغفر الله العظيم الجليل لي ولكم ولسائر المسلمين من كل خطيئة فاستغفروه إنه غفور رحيم. الحمد لله رب العالمين والصلاة والسلام على رسول الله وعلى آله وصحبه ومن والاه. أما بعد، عباد الله، أوصيكم ونفسي بتقوى الله عز وجل. Sisters indeed. So maintaining goodness and avoiding, anything that leads to mischief is very, very key to success of any community, to success of any individual. There's no two ways to that. Because goodness brings about righteousness and evil brings about mischief. Because if weapons, like I just said to us, weapons will never change, make a community better. If, what weapons will be used for is determined by the way people think. If you have people who think goodly, they will use the weapons goodly. And if you have people who think badly, they will make use, bad use of their weapons. So what repairs a society better is changing their thinking. And that's why my appeal to all of us, whether Muslims and even non-Muslims listening, is that we need to all collectively work towards saving our various communities. We need to collectively work towards encouraging ourselves towards doing what is good and avoiding what is bad. Because if we maintain goodness, all of us will have peace. And if we encourage evil, all of us will suffer it. And like I said, irrespective of where you belong to. Allah Ta'ala save our nation, save our world, and our organizations. Allah Ta'ala, those handling our organizations, various organizations, those in power, Allah Ta'ala guide them to be able to do what will bring good to the community and avoid what will harm the community. ربنا تقبل منا إنك أنت السميع العليم. My brothers and sisters, indeed, wato a gurguje nasihan mu ga juna dangane da wannan aya da muke magana a kai shi ne kamar yadda Allah ya ce wa ahsin kama ahsana Allahu ilai, wato Allah ya ce ka kyautata ma halittun Allah tabaraka wa ta'ala, ka kyautata ma bayin Allah kamar yadda kai Allah ya kyautata maka. Sai ce wala tabghil fasada fil ard, kada ka nemi yin barna a bisa kasa. Sai ce inna Allah la yuhibbul mufsidin, saboda ubangiji tabaraka wa ta'ala baya son masu barna. Mun ga halin da muka kasance a yau. Ubangiji ya yi mana baiwa wanda ba iyaka, wanda mu kuma sai ya umurce mu da mai ƙoƙarin wato nuna irin wannan alkhairi ko kuma wato ihsani ga sauran bayan Allah tabaraka wa ta'ala. Saboda haka duk lokacin da muke son dukkanmu gaba ɗaya mu tsira, to dole mai ƙoƙarin yin alkhairi, yin abin da ke da kyawu. Kuma sai Allah ya yi mana kashedi, ya ce ne, ya ce kada mu nemi barna a bisa ƙasa. Duk lokacin saboda barna na kawo wa kowa wahala. Yanzu mun ga yanayin da muka samu juna a ciki. Matsaloli ƙaruwa suke a garuruwanmu, a duniyanmu gaba ɗaya. Rikice-rikice, sai ya zamanto misali kamar yadda muka ce, waɗanda ya kamata masu warware waɗannan matsaloli sun kasa warwarewa. Saboda me? Ba sa shigowa cikin wannan hayaniya da ake ciki da niyyan yin alkhairi, da niyyan kyautatawa. Saboda kyautatawa misali daga cikin abin da ake bukata shine in mutane biyu suna rikici, yadda za ka iya yi ka warware wannan rikici shine ka shigo da adalci. Kada ka goyi bayan kowane bangare, za ka goyi bayan gaskiya ne, wanda a wannan yanayi shine mai ihsani, shine kyautatawa. Saboda lokacin da aka zalunci mutum, sa'annan kuma ka goyi bayan wanda ya yi zalunci, ka ƙara yin barna. Yanzu ga ƙungiyoyi da dama, kamar Majalisar Ɗinkin Duniya da sauran ire-irensu, kaga ya kamata a ce duk lokacin da aka samu baraka a wani waje suka yi magana, ya kamata kowa ya saurara. Taban yanzu kusan duk wa'annan ƙungiyoyi ba su da iko, kuma ba su da ƙarfi saboda ne an yi watsi da ihsani, an yi watsi da kyautatawa. Ya zamanto kusan mafi yawan ƙungiyoyi da mafi yawan mutane mun fi taimakon barna akan gyara. a kamar yadda na kan ba mu misali yanzu, inda ana yaƙi a wasu wurare za ka ga waɗanda za su taimaka da makamai sun fi yawa akan waɗanda za su taimaka da abinci da magunguna. Kuɗaɗen da za a bayar don sayan makamai don a taimaka wajen faɗan ya fi kuɗaɗen da za ka ga an samu wajen sayan magunguna da abinci. Saboda ne, sayan makaman nan kashe rayuka ne. Kenan za ka samu waɗanda za su taimaka wajen a salwanta rayuka, a kashe rayuka akan waɗanda za su kawo abinci a baya waɗanda suke jin yunwa da kuma waɗanda suka jikkata a ba su magani. To shi yasa in kana son barna da wuri za ka samu mataimaka, in kuma kana son gyara dole sai ka yi haƙuri. Sai ka yi haƙuri. Wanda kuma rayuwa in muka gina ta akan wannan dukkan mu sai mun wahala, saboda ba abin da zai kawo mana jin daɗi sai dai alkhairi, kuma babu wani abin da zai kawo mana rashin jin daɗi sai dai sharri. Alkhairi hutu yake kawowa, jin daɗi yake kawowa, kuma sharri wahala yake kawowa. Alƙawarin Allah ne. Annabi ya ce alaikum bis-sidq fa inna sidqa yahdi ila al-birr wa inna al-birra yahdi ila al-janna, iyyakum wal-kadhib fa inna al-kadhiba yahdi ila al-fujur wa inna al-fujura yahdi ila an-nar. Barna ba abin da ke babu sharri, abin da sharri ke kawo sai wahala, kuma babu abin da alkhairi ke kawo sai jin daɗi. Saboda haka in muna son jin daɗi, addu'a kawai ba zai ba mu jin daɗi ba. In ka yi addu'a, in ka ga dama ka sauke Qur'ani sau miliyan, wannan ba zai canja komai ba muddin baka aikata aikin da zai baka jin daɗin ba. Kamar misalin ka yi ta addu'a ka shiga aljanna, baka sallah, baka kyautata mu iyaye, baka zakka, abinda Allah ya umurce ka da shi baka yi, kawai sai dai kawai kai addu'a ka shiga aljanna. Haka ake shiga aljanna? Allah ya ce ilal ladina amanu wa amilu salihat, sai ka yi aiki. Da yawan ma'anar me muka taso yi, ba kasuwa muka je ba, kana neman kuɗi, baka zauna a gida ka zauna a ɗaki kayi addu'a kuɗi ya zo ba, kayi addu'a kuma ka shigo kasuwa, kayi addu'a ka tafi ofis, da na ubangiji ya zo sai ka ce kai za ka yi addu'a kawai shikenan an gama. Me muka yi kenan? Kana son ka samu lafiya, ka yi addu'a kuma ka je wurin likita. Kana son ka gina gida, ka yi addu'a kuma ka kawo magina su yi maka gini. Baka zauna ka yi addu'a gidan ya gina kansa kawai kai ka zo ka shiga ba. Kenan aiki yana da muhimmanci. Ko turawa ma suka ce ne, action speaks what? Louder than words. Wasu za su ce than voice. Wato magana a baka, wato mutum ya ce, zan ba mu misali, kamar mutum ya ce insha Allah zan baka 10,000, sai ya faɗi, da wanda ya ce zan baka 10,000, da wanda ya sa hannu a aljihu ya ɗauko 10,000 bai ba ce zai baka 10,000 sai miƙa maka. Wane ne za ka fi amincewa da shi? Wannan aikatawa ya yi, wancan shi kuma ya ce zai yi ne, wanda ya aikata ka gani, saboda haka wannan kana da tabbas zai baka, ya baka 10,000 saboda ya miƙa ma ka karɓa, amma wannan ya ce zai baka, sai ka gani, sai ka karɓa. Dan ya ce zai baka sai ka ce ya baka 10,000, amma ya baka 10,000 sai ka ce bai baka ba, za a ce kana hauka. To hakan nan ne, in muna son garuruwanmu su gyaru, dole sai mun karkata zuwa ga kyawawan ayyuka. Kuma kyawawan ayyuka kamar yadda muka ce, ba wai sai ka zo masallaci kawai ba, a'a, in kana cikin shagonka ka tuna da Ubangiji yana kallon ka. Kada ka cuci mutane a shago, kada ka cuci mutane bisa titi, kada ka cuci mutane yayin da kake ofis. Kamar yadda muka ce ko kai musulmi da wanda ba musulmi kuka yi makwabtaka da juna, kada ka cuci wanda ba musulmi ba a lokacin ka nuna masa kyawun musulunci, saboda addininka ya haramta maka cutan shi. Ba za ka cuce shi ka ce addininka ya haramta ya fahimta ba, saboda a fili yana ganin kana cutar da shi. Ba za ka yi masa rashin adalci ba, kamar yanzu da ake faɗa tsakanin Falasɗin da Israel. In mu musulmai muka tashi magana adalci za mu yi, inda ‘yan uwanmu suka yi kuskure za mu faɗi, kuma inda su suka yi kuskure za mu faɗi. Shi ne musulunci. Kowa na da nashi kuskure, ba wanda yake 100% upright. Kowa dukkan mu ɗan adam. Musulunci kenan. Allah tabaraka wa ta'ala ya shiryar da mu. Allah tabaraka wa ta'ala ya kawo mana zaman lafiya a ƙasanmu, ya kawo mana zaman lafiya a duniyarmu. A inda ake rikice-rikice, duk wanda ke kan daidai Allah ya taimaka masa. Wanda ke zalunci Allah ya sa ya gano kuskurensa ya gyara. In kuma bai gyara ba to Allah ya ba wanda yake zalunta iko a kan shi. Allah tabaraka wa ta'ala ya kare mu gaba ɗaya daga zalunci. Allah tabaraka wa ta'ala ya ba mu ikon kyautatawa a duk inda muka samu kawunan mu. Rabbana atina fid dunya hasana wa fil akhirati hasana wa qina adhaban nar. Allahumma la tad'alna fi maqamina hadha dhanban illa ghafarta ولا هما إلا فرجته ولا كربا إلا نفسته ولا دينا إلا قضيته ولا عسيرا إلا يسرته ولا عدوا إلا خذلته ولا مبتلا إلا عافيته ولا ميتا إلا رحمته ولا حاجة من حوائج الدنيا والآخرة هي لك رضا ولنا فيها صلاة إلا أعنتنا على قضائها وسترها برحمتك يا أرحم الراحمين. اللهم بعلمك الغيب وقدرتك على الخلق أحينا ما علمت الحياة خيرا لنا وتوفنا إذا علمت الوفاة خيرا لنا. اللهم إنا نسألك خشيتك في الغيب والشهادة، ونسألك كلمة الحق في الرضا والغضب، ونسألك القصد في الغنى والفقر، ونسألك نعيما لا ينفد، ونسألك قرة عين لا تنقطع، ونسألك الرضا بعد القضاء، ونسألك برد العيش بعد الموت، ونسألك نصل وشكر إلى لقائك في غير ضراء. اللهم زينا بزينة الإيمان واجعلنا هداة مهتدين. عباد الله قوموا إلى صلاتكم يرحمكم الله.